Johnson, and this is Focus on Liberia. Hit it! From Cape Mount to Cape Palmas, Mount Nimba to Atlantic Ocean, Obomi Hills to Pocondre, to educate, elevate, and promote. Talk about home affairs, in Diaspora, current affairs, reliable information, history, talking about culture, politics, education, entertainment, business, sports.
At Focus on Liberia, we discuss everything Liberia, from education to politics, arts and culture, entertainment, agriculture, history, religion, family, and technology. Focus on Liberia uncovers and showcases the best of Liberia and shows the world the truth about Liberia. We educate, elevate, and promote all things Liberia. We conduct interviews, panel discussions, debates, and more. Tune in to Focus on Liberia on Facebook and YouTube and be a part of the stories that make up the news.
This is Focus on Liberia, and I am.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's another Sunday. It's a little after 3 o'clock here in the central region, and it's 4 o'clock out east. Welcome to Focus on Liberia On Point. It is your regular Sunday show. Here we debate the topics of Liberia, the diaspora, and the global entity that exists. Welcome. Please share the show. Let's get our friends on board. Let's see who all can join us this Sunday for a really good show. Well, I see I have two gentlemen here with me today, and we'll see who else will be joining later on. We acknowledge that today is Easter Sunday, so it's really a family day. People spend a longer time at church, and then they go out to eat and celebrate with the family. So we acknowledge that. Who can join, we appreciate it, and who for some reason cannot, we understand. But we're glad today to have Mr. Joseph Tao with us. Mr. Tao, how are you this Sunday? Happy Easter.
Pretty good. I'm doing pretty good. Houston is fine, and I'm glad to be here. And hi to our viewers, and I hope to be part of this show and make my contribution.
Thank you so much, Mr. Tao. Thank you so much. We're glad to have you. Dr. Fidel C.T. Booney, how are you, Dr. Fidel?
You gotta call it C and a T, my brother.
Okay.
No, I'm good. It's great to be here as always. Happy Easter to everyone. Thanks to all of the viewers for joining us. And Mr. Tawa, I'm sure Houston has a problem, but you don't want to tell us. So we'll see.
Oh man, I watched my Minnesota Timberwolves yesterday demolish the Los Angeles Lakers. I saw an old man running up and down the court called himself LeBron James. Man, it was exciting. I can't wait for the next game. We're up 1-0 against the Lakers in LA. So yeah, it's an exciting time here in Minnesota. I do not believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but I do not believe that Texas, what's the team in Texas? Houston Rockets. I don't believe the Houston Rockets made the playoffs. So you just be cheering for us here in Minnesota. Okay.
They're not on the ground. The Rockets always in space.
Okay. All right. We'll go with that. We'll take that one for now. Well, thank you all for joining us. Please share the show. Your friends are not mine, and my friends are not yours. So please share the show. Let's see if we can get a good viewing audience out here today as people enjoy and serenade their afternoons. We have pretty good discussion that's going to be happening today. As you all know, the Nimba elections are going on, and our show today is going to comprise of that, the Nimba elections, the ins and outs, the pros and cons, the ups and downs, the men, the women, the tribal ethics, the gender ethics, everything. We're going to try and take a look at everything and see if we can make some sense of this, and hopefully have some predictions at the end of the show on who is going to be successful. I believe that it is this Tuesday, the 22nd, are going to be the elections, and much has been said. So without further ado, I'm just going to go down the list of our topics for today, and then we'll get going here. There's only 3 of us, so I think we should have enough time to discuss this more than it would normally be. So the first topic for today, we'll be talking about the top candidates. I have not listed the top candidates. I didn't want to presuppose who the top candidates are. I want to hear from you guys who you believe are the top candidates, and then we can talk about their pros and cons, and take it from there. Number 2 is the topic 2 is the tribal insinuations that have been going on. We have seen so much talk about the Gio and the Mano and the Mandingo and the Dan and everything in between that. And so we'll talk about that. We'll talk about the 5 tribes that are established in Nimba. And then we'll talk about, how that works in the main scheme of things. Number 3, we'll talk about the women vote. We have a single female candidate on the ballot. Some say she's one of the forerunners. We'll discuss that. Is she going to capture the women vote? Is Representative Koga, who is seen as another competitor, is he going to be able to get into her vote? We'll find out. And then finally, in our last 3 elections, we have noticed the influence of the Nimba vote in the elections. Some call Prince Johnson the Kingmaker. We saw in the very last elections, there was concerted effort by every major political party to court Prince Johnson and to get his endorsement, because they felt with the Nimba endorsement would take them over the top. So with the elections that are happening in Nimba coming this Tuesday, what does that mean for 2029? Is Nimba going to show up once more again, almost as a single vote? Are they going to be divvied up? Does that mean they're going to lose strength? There's so much to discuss about it. So we're gonna get things rolling. And once again, I want to encourage all our viewers. Thanks for joining us. Please share the show. Hit the like button, hit the share button, share with your friends, and let's have a good conversation. So, Dr. Booty, the top 2 candidates in Nimba right now. You can pick one if you would like, and just discuss.
Well, I can state what I believe, based on news reports and talking to people on the ground, whom the top 2 candidates are. So, Madam Edith Gonglowe and Representative Koga, I think, from all of the sources that we're speaking to, are the 2 frontrunners. I know over the weekend, well, I say over the weekend, it's still the weekend, but on Friday, I was in conversations with some leaders of the CMC who are very confident that Mr. Mark Blewon will do well, and we're looking forward to see how that plays out. But I think those are the top 2 candidates, right? So in terms of, and I'm going to focus on Madam Ware, because again, there's a huge part of me that would want to see her elected. I was talking to someone again over the weekend, who is from Nimba County, who basically questioned her contributions to the county, and the fact that every time she has lost an election in the county, she left and went back to the U.S. And because of that, the person feels that, oh, she's not right for the county. Now, my counter argument to that is that, look, she and I've only just read Mr. Blewan's bio before coming on. I didn't realize that he was inspector under for Nimba County under President Weir. So I was always saying that she is the only of the candidates that has had a county-wide role, in terms of being superintendent. Obviously, Mr. Blewan has it as well, but he's new to the game. She's a recognizable face because she's ran, I think, 2 or 3 times to be senator. She was a superintendent under President Sirleaf, and obviously her brother, again, sometimes the association gives you opportunity to be recognized. Brother Councillor Gonglo is well known in Liberia. So I think once that name is there, even though it's there's a hyphen, it's a double barrel name, but it still carries weight. So I think, look, she has a good chance. I think I've been talking to some of the women in Liberia who are part of the feminist movement in Liberia, who have galvanized around her to push her candidacy, because they believe, again, and which is right, there are only 2 women, I think, at the moment, one from Grand Bassa and one from Bapolu, in the Senate, and they believe that
Kipma has a senator.
Kipma has a female senator. Is it Kipma or Bapolu?
No, there's 3. There's 3.
Okay, so the report I read was wrong then, because the feminist movement put out 2, and not 3.
I believe it's 3. I will double check it, but I believe Vapala, what's her last name? I believe.
Yeah, I think it rings a bell. Yeah, it rings a bell.
She
I think
won the third one. Yeah,
but still,
it's 3 out of 30.
That's 10%.
It's 3.
I think that's 10%. Yeah, 10%, and women are 50% of the population of our country. So the representation is not good enough. And based on that, I think, again, the pros for her: county-wide experience, the fact that she's been in leadership in the county before. She is an experienced woman as well, just in terms of the service, but also the fact that I think we need more women in the Senate, right? I think 3, even 10 is not good enough, in my opinion. But I'm just going to say this before I rest. I also believe that the endorsement of Madame Gonglo by the feminist movement in Liberia might be seen by the people of Nimba County as I would see it as a con as well. As much as I see it as something that is useful and I support what they're doing, I think, because I've heard some women from Nimba County, prominent women, people who you would consider educated enough to understand gender politics and things like that, who are kicking against it, like, we only vote for her because she's a woman, kind of thing. And I think that might have, especially if most of these women from the feminist movement are from Monrovia or Montserrat County, coming to tell the people in the to tell them what to do, and once they see it as people telling them what to do, would that hurt her candidacy? We don't know, so we'll leave it there. But I think she, for me, is a good candidate based on her experience, and I think the people who are supporting her, I think it's going to be a good race, and I think let's see the results.
All right. Okay. All right. So first, let me just erect that yes, the junior senator from Grand Kipma County is Daba Vapila, and she was elected during the last election result here in 2023, I believe. So there are 3 female candidates in the race, and if Madam
female senators, in the House,
female senators, and if indeed Madam Edith was to win, she'll become the 4th out of 30 seats. All right. So Mr. Towell, welcome, Mr. Mr. Towell. So Dr. Budi has established Samuel G. Koga, representative from Nimba County as one of the leading candidates, and Madam Edith Gonglo Wa as the second leading candidate. If you agree, what do you believe are the pros and cons between these two? One is a sitting representative, and one is a former superintendent.
Okay. Thanks for calling on me. This is what I would say. I have no real knowledge of any of these people or of Nimba politics. Okay. And of even the nitty-gritty of the Liberian politics, I really don't look at it too much. The reason is that I really don't seem to, because I think all that is pretty much based on some faulty foundation and stuff like that. So I think it should be changed in a way. But this is what I would say. Koga, right? The sitting government, the government office, especially in an area like Liberia, and where the vice president is from that county, they have a lot of resources, and he's been represented, and he's a present representative. So I think he has a greater advantage because I follow just a little bit of what's going on, and I have friends from Nimba. I spoke to a couple of them here and there, and I agree with Dr. Bodie. I think he is going to be. I think he's the front runner right now, and I think his chances of winning is higher than anybody else.
Okay.
Having said that, there's some things that I would want to actually really emphasize. The same thing that Dr. Bodie said concerning people having reservation of her each time she runs or she's out of office, she head back to the U.S. This right here, I wish the entire Liberia could galvanize and actually agitate and actually take action on this. For me, this is the problem that I have, because you cannot, no nation can move forward when you have people that are not committed to that nation. When you have
define commitment for me.
Listen, us in the U.S. here, this is the commitment here. Us in the U.S. or abroad, based on the fact that we have our families here, we actually live here. So we go mostly to work in Liberia. My brother, you are actually a foreigner in that form. You cannot have a bunch of foreigner outsiders, people who don't live in the country, trying to run the country. Look, we're making this mistake. And when it's pointed out, because I'm in the Zoe bush, don't mean I have to agree. I will bring secret out. And the evidence is there. That this is what we see every time somebody run or the whole in a position. Okay, what happened if we are all here and we're in Liberia and we hold positions and we know that we have the other alternative, that is the US or London or anywhere else? What will really drive us that want to make sure that this place succeed?
So we can go back home.
And listen, if we can always leave. So whether the intention is good or not, the moment the policies, if we don't push too much and things don't work, guess what? And things are getting bad, what happened? We jump on the plane, we'll come back. But if we don't have that option and we must be there, it actually at least drives us for us to know that we must make it work, we must do our best. Okay, this is the problem.
That would be your motivation. Actually, I understand. That would be your motivation.
Please. Now, the next one here is this.
I'm hearing this word. I'm
about to land on this. Huh?
You say you know plenty about people, but you're talking.
No. These things are general to.
I'm just messing with you, Mr. Go ahead.
The next one is this, right? The gender politics.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Western, and I want us to be careful with this.
We'll get to that.
I want us to be careful with this. For us to say that for elected position, that it should be that we should allocate 10% or 50% or this percent. How do you come up with that? It is elected position.
We'll get to that.
Nobody is stopping a woman from setting a political party in Liberia.
Some people might say that women have been stopped in the past.
Yeah, but no.
And
okay.
Men have taken a head start.
Okay, nobody is stopping a woman from setting her own political party. Nobody's stopping her from running for office.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody is saying that they cannot. It's elected position, because I want us to be careful. Whether 50% women enter the house, are they qualified?
Oh, I think that should not be.
These are the kind of things that we should be. But is that we think that there should be 50% women or there should be 10%? That shouldn't even be the discussion. The thing is, we should say that we encouraged that women should step up so that they can try to participate, but not that this many women should be in. How do you come up with that in it? If it was appointment, at least then we say, okay, we need to appoint maybe 10% or 20% qualified women, but in elected political or landscape forces, one for this much percentage. We should be careful with these things. Because look, I'm familiar with USAID along with the European Union pushing this kind of stuff. I sat with people, I have cousins that work with USAID. When they're coming in and they're telling us how they write these things, they're telling us how to implement it in our society. What these things do is that it create a lot of division. And this is the problem with this democracy that I have.
Why would including women create division?
No, not including. Not including women, not a problem. We want everybody to participate. But to start saying something that requires election for people to make a choice, to start saying that we must have 50% or we must have 30%, how do you come up with that? You can't make that happen if people have to choose. If it is appointment, at least to say, hey, Mr. Padmo, on this platform right here, we should agree, look, we should have at least 4 women or 2 women that should at least come on point, right? But if the way we come here is based on election, how do we make that decision that 3 women should be here?
Isn't that part of a campaign strategy? Isn't that part of a campaign strategy?
That's the problem.
Mr. Pablo, let me put something for 1 minute.
So we have to be careful.
Okay. You got 30 seconds, Dr. Budi.
So first of all, Mr. Nangbe was very agitated on this matter last week, and I think Mr. Tao hasn't learned the lesson yet. And I'm glad that he used the word division, right? Because when you start to call Liberians in the diaspora foreigners in their own country, that's very divisive, because people on the ground will start seeing us as foreigners. What you have to understand is the majority of us in the diaspora invest significantly in Liberia. We own properties there. We own businesses there. We're employing people. Mr. Ja just joined the thing now. He pays a handsome amount of money to a radio station in Liberia to broadcast the messages that we talk about on from Focus on Liberia, right? So are you saying that he's being divisive by bringing news to the people in Liberia? So you need to stop that, right? Because people will start to look at us from the diaspora as evil people coming to destroy the country. So that's the first point. On the second point that you talked about, Edith Gonglo is qualified. The point we're making here is maybe you don't understand the thing called the patriarchy, right? You don't understand the patriarchy and the fact that structures have been in place. They've got this thing called the Old Boys Club. In the UK here, we call it the Old White Boys Club, where a bunch of white boys get together and make decisions on who can enter this office and who can enter the certain place. These institutions, political institutions, has always been an old boys club. These old boys are still there. They're still preventing women from getting opportunities. All we're saying is, look, parties should put more women candidates forward. That way, you will have more of them available so there are choices for the people. That's all we're saying. We're not saying that, oh, when either Gongwe will get 5 votes and the other man get 10 votes, I'm going to give it to her. No, that's not what we're saying. Okay. But let more women get the opportunity.
Okay, all right. And we'll discuss that a little bit more in depth. Mr. Ja, thank you for joining us. You are muted, just so you know. Here we're discussing what I think has been established now by our first 2 panelists as the leading contenders in the Nimba County senatorial elections. We're discussing the pros and cons of those 2. What do you think? Do you agree those are the leading contenders, and what do you believe are the pros and cons when it comes to that?
Thank you. First of all, I say thank you. I'm happy to join the panel. I'm so used to asking questions until I don't know how to answer questions anymore. So I'm here to learn from you guys, right? But the first thing is in the by-election in Nimba, I've heard people say, oh, this is Nimba thing, I have no fish to fry in it. No, that's not true. Even representatives, senators, because the laws they're going to make going to affect all of us. So all of us, whether you are from Nimba Bapolo, Sino, Grand Judah, wherever you're from, we are all part of it. We are stick into the Nimba County by-elections, and so we should talk about it. I want to get that out of the way because today I've heard like 10 persons say that, oh, I have nothing to do with it. And then people in Nimba say, oh, why are they all coming here for our election? This is not their election. This is not Grand Crew. This is not Cape Mount, and so on and so forth. Now, coming to the two front runners, and I think they are the two front runners, I was hoping our FOL panelist, or who used to be panelist here, Dr. Gompu, was going to make some headway, but I don't see him anywhere. And based on election after election, what we have seen so far is what we see, the crowd and the following really can determine, give us some signals as to who is leading, even without any scientific polling. So based on what we see in the country, I think Koga and Madame Gonglo, they are leading. The pros here is, first of all, and Mr. Tao, Mr. Budi, adequately addressed what you were saying, because there is this level of anti-diaspora sentiment, sometimes anti-intellectual sentiment, so that when you go among your own people and you know so much, and you try to even articulate, they say, oh, he's trying to be different, he's trying to be cool, he's trying to be this. So people want to cleave to their own. That's why you see the popularity among some of the talk show hosts. Sometimes I'm not even listed among the top 10 because there's no foul mouth, right? So, I mean, I look at the election between Koga and Idi. I don't know why. In fact, Mr. Koga should even be standing in that election. And that speaks to how our country, how far back we have gone. That someone who has been representative for 12 years, nobody's holding him accountable. Nobody's asking him questions about what he has done for the past 12 or 13 years and what he wants to do. All he talks about is, number one, we have minor senator, we need Gio senator. Two, we now need someone who will replace Prince Johnson and be the second godfather. That's it. So unfortunately, he has people behind him. He has the government or the executive branch with the vice president and the superintendent of the county, because I'm aspiring to be superintendent. So when I see superintendent acting like that, I'm like, no, you should kind of be a little neutral. But she went there and said, in fact, tribal balance is more important than gender balance. I'm like, is she? But anyway, from what I see, I think it's neck to neck. I wish someone with the qualification of Ide will win it, so that we look at our legislature in a different way. People who cannot even articulate what the issues are, but because they are popular or because they have money to dish out, they're getting upper, and it's sad. Or if you get somewhere and the person who is just using a whole lot of vulgarity, that person is leading because people want to identify with their kind. So if you can conjugate your verb properly, so you see someone too who cannot conjugate, that's the person you go for. I think that needs to change. And I hope Nimba County will become that testing ground.
Okay. Well, Mr. Charles, coming to you. Okay. So let's talk about this. Usually, for me, when I was growing up, ignorantly, when you talked about Nimba, that was discussed. It was much later on, as I attained the ability to research for myself, find information for myself, and kind of digest that information, that I learned that Nimba County was just not Guiomano. Even during the war, they're looking for the Guiomano people, and they said we're looking for the Nimba people. Same thing with Grand Judah. When you hear people talk about Grand Judah, you wouldn't even know that there are other tribes in Grand Judah besides Crown and Sapo. You wouldn't even know that even within the Crown tribe, I think they have like between 9 to 12 sectors in there, and they have the names listed. They can list those people for you, and they all speak different Crown. It's just my ability to research that I've learned these things. So far, people have come up with between 4 to 5 tribes, established tribes in Nimba. But we keep hearing this talk about, oh, you know what? We have 2 senatorial seats, so therefore the Manapo should take one, the Giopo should take the other one. And say Manaman get one already, this one the Gio man should take it.
Pathetic.
So apparently, Samuel Koga is a Gio man, and Mana Edith Gonglo Ware is a Mana woman. And so this is the strategy that they are coming with. Knowing that there are more tribes, and you know, what do you think about this? Do you think that this is something that should be pushed? And I want for you to really touch, because you always speak concerning the influence of diaspora. This is coming from the traditional point of view. And that's why I'm coming to you. The traditionalists are the ones that are pushing this. The local people, the people that own the ground, according to you, they are the ones pushing this. Do you think this is a fair way to select our leaders?
I can go first. Let me talk about the ethnic groups, right? Because the people, whoever was writing those books, what they ignorantly did was to try to assign ethnic groups to counties. And that almost got me killed because I'm from Sino and I'm Gribble. I'm not Kru. So during the war, I had my ID card that says Sino. So if it says Sino and it says Kru and you're not Kru, that was automatic death. The same with Nimba. I met my wife before I knew that Crown people were from Nimba, Babli district. You have the Bui and Lolu people. That's another group. You have the Pele. And then your Kepa areas like that being concessional areas, they have a lot of different ethnic groups. Ganta being a commercial hub, a lot of different ethnic groups. But we tend to push this ethnic thing so much as if ethnicity bring anything to the table. It's just blood identity, right? So whoever did that from the beginning really did us wrong and disservice by marginalizing a whole group of people. And you are right. Crown, for instance, whoever came up with the idea of calling everybody Crown, that's another story. Whoever came up with the idea of calling everybody Kru, that's another story. Because I'm from Sino, we don't even call anybody Kru. Gribble is something placed on us, but the groups identify themselves separately. I'm Gribble from Sino, it's called Dripo. If you go to Gribble G, you have the Palipo, the Tiempo, the Kelipo, and so on. If you go to Maryland, you got a Barabo. You go to Grand Cru, you got a the Plepo, and so on. So these are all different groups. Somebody came and said, well, you just want the same. You go to Nimba now, there are a lot of people and people have potential. But we keep doing this tribe, and that is leading us nowhere.
So there is being pushed a lot, at least from what I'm hearing from the traditionalists, right?
And they are not traditionalists. They are actually... Okay.
Whatever word you want to give them, you know, but this is being pushed by a certain group of people, you know. So I want you to respond to that, because the other thing we've heard is that, you know, they say, well, you know, we vote with what our traditionalists tell us. We vote traditional. So I want you to speak to that point of view, that there's a certain group that's pushing this, you know. And how does this fare for our country?
It's bad, because what even they call traditionalists is not, right? Because if we talk about our traditional values will tell us, do not insult women, do not steal from people. That's the kind of traditional value I was raised with, right? So those who are saying this is our traditional thing to vote based on ethnic group, that's a lie. That they are just Confucianists and people who cannot compete, so they want to use tribe. That's all they're doing.
Okay, Mr. Tower, I'm coming to you now. So these are the people on the ground. Whether we want to call them traditionalists, we want to call them local, but here's what they are pushing: this tribal way of selecting our leaders. What say you concerning, you know, comparing that to the, you know, the best person for the job?
Okay, so look at what happened here. Dennis touched on something, and these are some of the stuff that I always mention here. The problem that we are having, if you go back to pre-colonial Africa, because you see, We don't study our own history. We are told to be blind, to just follow other people. So everything that we're struggling over in Liberia, in particular, in Africa in general, is things that don't even belong to us. Like I was looking at the chat, and I'm hearing people going back and forth about Christianity and this one and that one. And everything that we fight over, that we die over in Africa, have nothing to do with us. So look at what he just mentioned here. Because I grew up and I had people, and I went in the villages. These are some of the most respectable people. They had these rules, like he said, you don't abuse women. Like women was well taken care of. Go back and look at when the Europeans came. Then they stuff about all the gender divide and all the tribal stuff. Because you know why? People live together in group. The division that they carry out with the counties, that is the same what they did the countries. If you go, I live in Ivory Coast, and like about almost 100 miles or more into Ivory Coast, they give people in there. You know that was the mountain down whole kingdom, but they cut them, left some people, forced people that were not culturally similar in terms of doing stuff into one area that you hear this other country right here, the country is Liberia, the one is this. And these things, the Europeans themselves could not handle this. Go and look at their history. They had to kill each other, that they had to separate. Well, when you go to Germany, they're mostly Germans. Where France and Belgium connect, they're fighting civil war there because they can't even agree to live together. So Africa even handling this. Then we'll come to this Western democracy that they gave us is very divisive. That is the only way it can be practiced. You are in this country. No, I said that is the only way it is practiced. You are in this country. Look at how they campaign the election go on here. It's all divisive. It is all divisive. I'm this one, I'm that one, I'm this one. It's not about whole national stuff. That is how it works. So that is why I keep saying we have to look at these, and that is the effect of what we are seeing. That is because it's based on what? People voting, right? It's based on popularity. So if the down and the minor, yeah, they are in the Mandingo and other people. But since it's based on popular vote, you will move in a direction that can galvanize the people that you think are more for you to vote. So you will agitate that base. That is it. That is all that is playing out. For Koga not running, right? We don't see that he should run. I really don't think that is what the problem is, though. The problem is that we have laws on the book that don't stop them. We're going to be caught up in the cycle of election. If somebody's already sitting as a representative, they shouldn't be running for Senate. Let them resign.
Okay.
Let them resign.
That was my question. That was my question.
Right? Because, so Koga run. Let's say he win. Then there is another election right behind it. Another representative jump up, or somebody run, win. Then so we are caught up into the perpetual election. So if you are already sitting, wait until your term then when it's over.
So what you are saying is that
when he resign, you won't have money.
There you go. So then resign. And once they have to resign before the run, guess what?
So what you are saying?
All the stuff out. So fresh people that are available.
Hold on. So what you are saying, I just want to make sure we get this clear. So what you are saying is that there should be something enacted in the books that if you are a seated lawmaker,
yes,
before running for another elected position, you should resign your present position.
Yes,
and that position that you resign,
you can come back.
Should also be the election for that position should also be held at the same time.
Yes,
that they are holding the other one. So we have one election, one time.
Election. Guess what? Okay. Once that is put into place, all of them will sit in their position, right? Then fresh people like this Madam Gongo or all these people that are fresh, that are new, they will now run. They will give people the chance. So like to say, hey, we want more women. And let me clarify this. Nobody's saying that women should not run. And I'm of the vision also or conviction that women should be given chance to wear in party and stuff like that. If they're qualified, they should be pushed forward. So it shouldn't be no old boys club. What I'm saying here is that we shouldn't just say, oh, there should be 10% assigned to women in an elected area. We can't do
well,
that.
that's not what was
Nobody
said.
said that.
Percentage. How you going to
Yeah.
do
Nobody
that?
said that.
Honestly,
Nobody said
that's not what was said.
No, you.
But we agree.
Dr. Booty, that is not what you said. This is something that I heard the EU,
You've heard
I
people
heard
say
the US, I heard they push this. There's
Yeah,
a
but you need to
whole policy
clarify
about
because
it.
people will think I said it.
So they said, but they say this. How do you even in the USA they can't do that? They know it's not possible in electoral politics.
yeah, okay, all right.
It's
Thank
not.
you so much.
So that is the point that I'm making. So
Yeah.
because once we
Hard to
start
be
doing this,
minority.
I
If
do
you're
not-
minority, you don't know how it feels.
yeah, let me learn. Because once we start doing this, we start to create even more division. Because what we want to do is to remove a lot of moving parts so that the division can reduce. And to close, I would never keep quiet when it comes to diaspora. I will continue to say this. There is nothing for me to learn. I have the KPI in the last 20 years of us from the diaspora that go to serving government.
I hope it's accurate.
It's not good. The result is not good. We have to point it out. We have to hold ourselves responsible. When I'm saying that we are foreigners, it is not that I'm saying Liberian just no. If you invest in Liberia, I invest in Liberia. If we go to Liberia to do our private stuff, that's fine. And if we go to Liberia to serve in government, then let us know.
Yeah.
There will be consequences.
Okay. So,
Mr. Tawo, how do you compare that with people that didn't leave Liberia? We're talking about the Prince Johnson.
Okay, this is how I compare it. This is how I compare it, right? We in the US, we say we know better. We say we have a better standard. We have learned.
How do you compare that with people that stay there and destroy the country?
No. Why are you talking about the destruction of the country? Where did they come from? It was diasporans. Who are the world leaders? Who are the Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, the Taylor, all these people? They came from the diaspora. Let us admit to this thing. All the record is there. So when we start holding ourselves responsible, if we say that, oh, logo, we know better, right? Then if we go to Liberia, we shouldn't say, oh, look at Prince Johnson, he didn't leave Liberia and he's corrupt. No, let us set the example. Let us look at the record.
I need to come in on this topic, actually, because I'm not coming in.
Once your turn comes.
Let us look at the record.
I don't want to get caught up with this one.
Let us look at the record of that left from here to go serve in the government since 2005. We just want to start and not even go further back. Let's look at, because you have to gauge everything, right? We say, let's look at the record. It was bad. Just the concept that we came from the US alone, that we need higher salary because we have our mortgage here to pay. Man, I live here too.
I don't think that's what it was.
What that did?
It was not based on mortgage.
Salaries that we
like
have.
I said, I don't want us to.
Yeah.
I don't want us to get
salaries. So all I'm saying, look, let me rest. All I'm saying is that we should hold each other responsible. We should be able to call each other out. If Mr. Tao leave from here to go be finance minister, and if Mr. Tao don't perform well, and he caught up into corruption, and he run back to the US, we have to be able to call him out. And if Mr. Tao messed things up, then all of a sudden the country is in dire financial strait. The people who on the ground that make a majority, they don't have that option. They stay. But
Thank you, Mr. Tao.
If I come back to my family, we all keep doing that. Then we are foreigners because we have no commitment to the country. Because we don't care. So that we go there, anything we do, if it go wrong, we just run back and come here.
Thank you, Mr. Tao.
All that out.
Thank you
very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tao. Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, we're not going to go down that rabbit hole today.
Am I going to talk about the tribes as well?
Huh? Say that again.
Because you didn't bring me in. Because Dennis hijacked the.
I'm coming to you now in the tribes. Dr. Booty, I believe you are from Nimba County.
I've got a strong connection to the county. Yeah.
Okay. So now your traditional leaders now, as has been told, are now pushing this thing where they say because of peace and equity in the county, they have divided the senatorial seat into two, even though they are established about five large tribes. The Mano and the Gio. The other three tribes, you're just sitting with no representation. But anyway, this is what is being said. And I really want to hear from your point of view, how do we move the county forward when we are deciding elected leaders based on tribal background?
Well, I think the way you asked the question suggests that the county is not moving forward, and Nimba County is one of the fastest developing.
No, okay, but that's not my.
Not really moving forward. Yeah, it suggests
it has to keep moving forward.
Yeah,
No, yeah,
some of
it
the
is
political
moving forward.
landscape.
It has
No,
to keep.
there's not. But you even that, Mr. Tower, is you're suggesting that the political look. We just elected Jan Ditwine Jr. As a senator for Nimba County, a young progressive individual who worked in previous governments for President Sirleaf and President Weir as well, and is very, very astute in terms of what he's doing. So the county is moving forward. I don't agree with the politics that says because Prince Johnson was a Gio mayor and now we have a senator in Yan that automatically we need to get a Gio person. At the same time, one has to understand when it comes to politics in Nimba County, the Gio and the Gio and the Mano groups are the two largest groups, right?
Yes.
So even if they did, let's say nobody came up and said, let's vote on tribal lines, right? If the other three smaller tribes or ethnic groups decided to vote in a block, they can't still compete against the Gio and Mano block, right? Okay. As a collective. It's unfortunate. Okay. It's unfortunate, right? That's an unfortunate situation. There are minority groups all over the world in counties or states or districts where unfortunately their votes get overlooked or absorbed in the collective because at the end of the day they just don't have the numbers, and until they say let's have senators based on ethnic groups, that's how it's going to be in Nimba County because the Gio and the Mano groups are going to be the largest groups and they're going to keep voting along those lines. There's nothing you can do about
so let me give you a little bit more information here. So this whole splitting of the seat really was not established until Yan was elected. Okay, before then there was no Gio seat and Mano seat. As a matter of fact, for most of that time, both seats were occupied by Gio people. Okay, it wasn't until the very last election when Jeremiah Kuhn, okay, when he lost this, he didn't lose the seat, but he elevated to vice president. The seat became open, and Yan won that seat. Mano man in there. Okay. So now all of a sudden they're pushing this as if it is some established, long-lasting, and yeah, go ahead.
You talk about moving forward. That's the new dispensation, right? So that's the new way the county has decided to move forward in a peaceful manner, right? And whether we like it or not, that's what the power brokers and the Kingmaker in Nimba County said were the major ones, not all of them, because we know that the smaller groups had not been given the same kind of opportunity to speak to.
So are we to expect now? Are we to expect now moving forward when Yan's seat becomes up for grabs, there will be no Gio candidate in the race?
Well, that's something we need to wait, Mr. Child. Let me. I got something else to add to as well. That is something we have to wait and see, right? I again, whether the Gio ethnic group, because I think I'm not 100% sure, but I think the Gio ethnic group is the largest of the groups. Yeah. Hence, they were able to get two senators in at the same time. By the end of the day, I don't know. That's the answer to that question. We don't know until it presents itself. Let's say, for example, Adif Gonglo wins the election. So then we got two Mano people there. That will automatically, in my opinion, and if you ask any of you here to be honest, automatically make a Gio professor next election will not vote on that line of Mano Gio, because there we got two Mano senators, right? So look, the tribal thing in Liberia and in Nimba County is unfortunate. There's nothing you can do about that. That's unfortunate.
And that's
we
where
need to find a way. 1 minute, Mr. Jah. Let me land it. Mr. Tao, have over 5 hours here to talk. Let me make my point.
We still have 2 more topics to go, Chief.
No, I know, but I need to make a point.
Okay, go ahead with that point. Give me your bucket. Tell us.
Yeah. So I've landed on that point. Look, Mr. Tao, the Maslow hierarchy of need. First need is self-preservation, right? Security, right? Nobody will be walking around in Liberia jobless when they have the opportunity to return to the diaspora to work. People have to feed their families, whether your families live in Liberia or they live in the US. If you are working in Liberia now, I went to Liberia in 2010. I was working in the private sector. I lost my job. I looked for jobs. I couldn't find jobs. I was not working in government. I came back to UK. right? Because at the end of the day, I need to feed myself and my family. You can't say to me, oh no, because you won't die in Liberia from hunger, that means you let Liberia. What, really? So I should stay there and die. That I will prove to Mr. Tower that I love the country. No, I have to preserve my life. I have to feed myself. So yes, there are bad apples who have gone in and messed things up. But you cannot pick one broom and just brush all the same way. It's not right, right? If somebody goes and steal money and run away, yes, we should call it out. We should put in policies that can make these people come back to Liberia and answer for their crimes. Ida Gongwe has not been accused of that. She left the job because she didn't have an opportunity under President Weah. She can't just be walking around empty-handed and hungry. She came back to the U.S. because she has an opportunity to work. Now, she still believes she can represent her people, so she's going there. So don't put her in that box. Look at people as individuals and look at their own story.
Thank you very much. Mr. Jai, you want to say something before we go?
Yeah, just to correct something here, because when the counties were formed, they were not based on tribes. Take, for instance, in Nimba we're talking about today, the Manos are closer to the Pele, right? But they have Mano and Gio, or Ma and Dan, in one county, because these are political subdivisions. They are not ethnic, counties. Mm-hmm. So let's just note that. In Grand Jida, those days, we had the Gribbles now, and then the Crown, mainly. So the tribal thing started getting there when the Gribble felt that, hey, we are more the Crown, we want our own county. Bapulu people will say, okay, we are here, we're being marginalized, we want our own county. Right now in Sino, the Sapo people say we want our own county because we are marginalized, right? And the way Dr. Booty is kind of trying to say there's nothing we can do about it. Well, if the representation, if what we are talking about is you are able to campaign and more of your own kinsmen vote for you, in this case, more Man people vote for you, and so we have a manner that's different than for people to make it a law or to make it the unwritten code that we need, as long as we have one Man, we need to have one Dan. If I'm from the Pele ethnic group, if I can run and win, good. It happens in Sino. The Gribbles are the least marginalized, but yet, people are competing. I mean, since 1976, the next representative we had from our side was Nabislaw, who died like a few years ago.
Yeah.
So, but we can still fight. We can still compete.
Won on that basis in Nimba.
Exactly.
Based on that seat allotment, Jeremiah Kuna has stood a shot. Running for that seat.
Right. So
the way you said it is like, because they're saying, oh, we want to work Gio and Mano, that means somebody who's running as a Pele candidate, if the people buy their platform, they will not vote for them. They will vote for them.
Okay.
Right?
I got a question for you, Mr. Jaffa. Go my next bit. Do you see the division of Nimba in the near future? When I say division, I'm talking about the political division of Nimba into two counties.
Nimba County is fighting. That has been in there strongly. Nimba is fighting against that very strongly. So I don't see it. Nimba really feels that being together work for them. So I don't see. I think Nimba.
When you say Nimba believes that, you mean all 5 tribes in Nimba?
Yeah. I disagree. The Gio and Mano side believes that, right? Then now you're falling into the trap as well. The Gio and Mano, if you ask the smaller groups, they will tell you, we ain't getting represented here. We won't be part of the thing.
But right? Dr. Budi, until Yan was elected, the Mano didn't have any representation in the Senate, and this conversation came about then. The Manos were like, you know what? Maybe we need our own country. We got to give people keep overshadowing us and keep being.
And that's the point I'm making. So both of them now sit and say, oh, it works for us to share it, so that we don't share the county into 2 counties.
Okay.
Divide the county into 2. So it's between the two ethnic groups and not all of the 5.
Okay.
No, what I meant was the smaller ones are not calling for separation. You are not,
because they don't have the voice.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why I say I don't see the division of Nimba.
Okay.
That's what I meant.
All right. So moving on to the third one, okay? We've kind of talked a lot about the tribal, but let's talk about the gender, okay? Let's talk about the gender here. Whether we want to or not, we have to acknowledge that, like most places in the world, the politics of Liberia has mainly been run by gentlemen. We have a patriotic system. That's how we've all grown. The men sit under the hut, they drink the palm wine. The women make the food and bring it, And as a young boy growing up, you used to look forward to those things and say, man, I can't wait. Wanted to be serving me, and yeah, we find ourselves. Anyway, but in recent times, we've seen a push, want women to be included. And let me correct myself, okay? If you look back at Liberia's history, there are instances when there have been very strong women leaders. Okay, for example, Swakoko. Okay, Swakoko is just not a name of a city or a town in Bon County. No, it's actually named after a very strong and very, very vibrant leader, okay, of that time. And there are numerous instances when we can speak of this. But let's be honest, there are few and far in between. Okay, so we've seen a push now to include more women in the dispensation of our politics. Now we have a race where I believe we have five candidates? And out of the 5 candidates, we have a single female. And we saw Ellen Johnson come out and she backed that female, and we've seen numerous females that have established themselves in politics and in leadership in Liberia come out and back the female candidate. So when it comes to this gender role, should this really play a role in our politics? Is this something positive that we should move forward with, or is it just another word for tribalism or some sort of subsect that we should not touch at all? I hope my question wasn't too long.
Can I go?
Yes, go right ahead, Mr. Town.
So look at what happened here. That is something that we shouldn't even deal with. And the reason that us as Africans, we even entertain these things is because we don't even know our own history. We don't understand our own culture. Look at the difference when Africans speak from African perspective and African culture and tradition. We have been so brainwashed that everything about us is wrong. But until the Western culture enter, and the areas that it enter in Africa, let's just say Liberia, let's take Liberia as well. You see how the family structure is destroyed. You see how the children are messed up. You see how there is confrontation between the male and the female for no reason. You live here in the US, 80% of the women file for divorce. I'm not happy. I don't feel like it. No, because I'm just trying to come to that. Mm-hmm. What does it do? It destroys. So after destroying their own family structure, because that is what that is driving at. The EU, USAID, they have a whole program. They're going after the nucleus, the very stability of the African culture.
Relate that to
no. What is that African culture? That's what I want to hear. I'm curious.
Okay. So look at what happened in the African cultures. Women are not marginalized, as they put it. No, they are not. Mm-hmm. They are not. Like you gave an example, you're only how the men are drinking palm wine and the woman bring food, as if that, because that's the connotation that make her some kind of servant. But they don't say the other one where the man worked so hard and struggled and killed himself just to take care of the woman and the children to make them comfortable. So then what the woman reciprocate? What in the African culture, there is clear division, boundary in gender role. This is real. A man is a man and a woman is a woman. It don't make anyone less and anyone more. In fact, the women influence is so much. If the woman is brought up to understand how to function in the society, in the culture, the women.
You're speaking very vague, Mr. Tao.
No.
Hold on. Because I'll give you another minute. I'll give you another minute. But you're speaking very vague, okay? When I go in the village, the man does not go on the farm alone. As he's going, the woman is going.
Yes.
Okay, they go on the farm together. All right.
Yes.
So this gender role, that's what I'm trying to say. It's like, because I don't really see it.
Yeah, it's there. When the woman go on the farm, she is there. She is not going for her to cut trees. To cultivate.
What does that mean?
Eh?
What does that mean?
What it means is that the both of them go on the farm. but the woman play a specific role that
Agree.
support the man.
So
And the man play his role to make sure that they support each other. There is no confusion there to say we're going to farm now. I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm supposed to be in your place to brush farm. You come here and you cook the food because it is all this kind of stuff. But look, in Liberia, let's come back to this stuff.
Yes, please. Let's come back to Liberia.
Women
Men in political positions.
Yes, in political area, in any aspect of society. It should not be a gender stuff because this stuff doesn't exist to say, oh, you are a woman. You can't come here, you can't go here. I don't think that should even be something for discussion in terms of it should even be. What should happen here is that if there is a woman, just like if there is a man, there are most men. I shouldn't think that just as simple they can't just put a man up to say go and do this if the man is not qualified. It's the same way. If a woman is there, if she's capable, if a woman is there, if she's
30 seconds. Let me say one last thing to talk down. I'll give you 30 seconds to close up on this, okay? So I'm sorry I don't have that clip prepared for you, but there is a clip where Representative Koga is speaking to an audience, right? And he says very disparaging, at least it's disparaging to me. He says, what is this woman doing here? Okay? We know our tradition, right? When certain call come, all the women go inside, only the men come outside to discuss certain things. What she doing here? She need to go inside and sit down with the women and let the men decide. Okay? And I mean,
and let me tell you something. I'm familiar with what he's talking about, right? But yeah, I'm familiar with what he's talking about. It's misleading because the women also have, because he's talking about the fraternity of the poor. The women also have their sorority.
You say, okay, that woman that coming there will lure us inside there. She will never spy in my country. That terrorist,
Yeah, I see that. But you see, what the part that he's not saying, the women also have their own fraternity too. Where when they're interacting, the men are not there. The men are gone and they decide also. And that also affect and influence the society. So you see, these are the kind of things.
So he was manipulating the information.
Yeah, these are the kind of deception that they carry out when they want to exploit and misrepresent the African culture. And this is where we are. Nobody should be stopped. For me, it should be based on if the woman is qualified and the woman is capable, she should come in there and run.
Okay.
Now, let me say the last one so I can rest.
10 seconds.
They should allow, if a woman is qualified and she's in the ring, they shouldn't hold her down to say that, oh, she can represent the CDC or she can be the candidate of the ANC of this one. No, let her be given a chance so that she can run. I agree with that. Okay. Because not doing those things and trying to go on the kind of nonsense that Koga is saying, this is what then will beef up the feminist rhetoric that then will start creating more division.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Tao. Well understood. Dr. Budi, so you heard that clip. I don't know if Mr. Jai, you see, you started there, so I don't know if you could please find a clip of the Honorable Superintendent of Nimba County. I can't remember why I saw it. Anyway, okay. So yes, the Honorable Superintendent of Nimba County, she too has something to say concerning ethnicity and gender. But you heard Representative Koga said. You're a young man, but you've seen the dominance of males when it comes to whether it's politics, it's political leadership, even in our little neighborhood, community leadership. Okay. Yeah. So go ahead. You can go ahead and start, Dr. Buddha. If we find it, we'll find it.
Okay. Yeah. So first of all, let me just point out that for many years I considered myself a feminist, and until the last couple of years, I've moved more to advocacy for gender justice, right? So because the feminist conversation has shifted towards gender justice, not just focusing on women empowerment, but empowering all genders, making sure that
I can share you quickly.
Yeah. But if you can pause for a second.
Whatever women. But I also know that as important as the issue of gender is, the issue of ethnicity and tribalism surpass the issue of gender. Qualified women. But I also know that as important as the issue of gender is, the issue of ethnicity and tribalism surpass the issue of gender.
Thank you very much. And I don't know if you noticed that she used the word surpass. She did not even like make them equal. So yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
for me, I'm not going to touch on that too much because I think basically she's just towing the party line, and she's in government. She wants to keep her job, so she has to say what they want her to say. That's pretty much what it is. So I'm not going to waste my time on that.
And by the way, she's going to Diaspora.
Well, I don't bring Mr. Tao back out here, big. So basically, yeah, the issue here is there are concepts called structure. So just to clarify, a lot of my research look at gender issues, right? Whether it be in land grabbing and how women and men respond to these things differently and the gender dynamics of it. And I've written extensively on rural spaces and the gender play. But there are things called structure and agency. And structure, in terms of the theory of structure, is basically the things that are put in place that limits a person from exercising agency. Agency is the will or the ability to freely do things, right? And if we just look at Liberia, and forgive me to the panelists and to our list, people watching as well, I tried to do a quick research, but I can't get the date correct. I don't know whether it's 1946 or 1955 because I've got conflicting reports from some of the sources I was reading. But Liberia gained independence in 1847. Either in 1946 or 1955, women got the right to vote. Right? That should tell you everything you need to know about the structures that we had in place or still have in place that makes it difficult for women to exercise agency. Similarly, if you look at the race issues in the US and in Western societies, when I apply for a job that I know I'm very qualified for, even more qualified to do, there's this concept that some of us have started looking into called the overqualification of migrants. A lot of migrants in the West are more qualified for the positions that they occupy. Why? Because the people making the decisions are white people. And they see a black name that comes to them, they will not come tell you, Pat Mowen giving you the job because you're black. No. They will say, well, the other candidate was more qualified. No, they were more qualified. Because these structures are in place. They're structured. Mr. Tao, you need to understand, and when you're talking to people, you have to, there are structures in our society. That means that women cannot, if they don't get a lift, if you just open the door, say you'll go through the door, they will not go through that door. Because there are things there that the security men are standing there when you say, hey, where you going at? Even though the door open for everybody, but someone is preventing them from getting through that door. And we need to be intentional about it and remove those things. That's why we talk about, look, yes, I'm not saying that we should vote for Edith Gongu simply or only because she's a lady, but she is a lady. She is very qualified. She's more qualified than Koga, right? On top of that, even you said that Koga shouldn't be running because he already been there, he didn't do nothing for 12 years. The fact that she's a woman is just another aspect of it. And you cannot not talk about the fact that she's a woman because people are now making it part of the politics. Unfortunately, we need to have a conversation in our politics to address gender inequalities. Whether we like it or not, there are so many qualified Liberian women who will not be given a look. Most parties put out candidates. And let's be honest. All of us here, people watching, look at the list. Take your time. And I'm glad that Mr. Patmos now tend to research it. Take your time and look at the list of representative candidates that were put forth by each political party, right? Look at the men they put forward, compare that to the one or two women that were put forward, and see what any other men can title women and shoe in terms of experience, in terms of qualification, in terms of capacity. So then what is it that 50% of the population, because more women are going to school now than men, right? Whether it be in the US, here in the UK, even in Liberia. You go to, I go to Liberia, I observe, you observe when you go to Liberia, the university student and the more girls than boys, right? So how are we churning out more women, educated women? How are we churning out more educated girls? But then when you get to a legislature, that they keep something that's stopping, and we have to open our minds to think, what is it that's stopping women from entering anything when there's so many educated women around?
Okay, we still have a little bit to discuss on this agenda before we
Yeah,
move
can I
forward.
say
Yeah, and we still have a little bit. So I'm going to put this question in. So as you answer, please answer this question.
Yeah.
I didn't get to answer.
Sorry, I thought I started with you. Sorry, Mr.
Yeah,
John.
that part. And so, Mr. Booty, those are your dates. So you're right. 1955, they were good. And then 46, they are the right now to be elected to parliament or to. So just to buttress what you say, because I want to be short, right? So, Mr. Pat, with the way these things are done, so take, for instance, a school, right? The school does not have bathroom. The men can stand out there and just use the bathroom, but a woman can do it. As a result, a woman will not go to school. A woman who doesn't have, because I support girls' organization that do this sanitary pad thing in Liberia. Mm-hmm. If that is not there, the women are not going to school, so they stay out of school. So these structures that Dr. Booty talked about, these things exist. When you were talking, you said, if a woman is qualified. I was listening to you. You didn't say if the man is qualified. Because now we see in the election, Koga is extremely unqualified. Ide Gonglo is qualified. Dr. Gompu is qualified, right? Other people there are qualified, right? But anytime it comes to the woman, you say, if the woman is qualified. So I just want you to take note. These things, I come from a family that is predominantly women. My father had 8 women before the first boy. So I'm all about women. My first child, I pray God, let me have woman first. So my first daughter, that woman. So I know these things, I see them from afar. If you're not, they say when the witchcraft wish your child here, you say witchcraft doesn't exist. So if you to be in a minority, to suffer these structural injustices is difficult. So if you don't get a push, if you don't get, like in the States, affirmative action, DEI, and all these different things, if they don't happen, you remain where you are.
So
be an issue. Women have a different perspective that when they bring to the discussion can be different. Every day I'm criticized. They say, Danny, why you don't have women on the panel? And I'm trying every day. That's why we treat Glendy like chicken egg.
So, excuse me. So, do we, with the women vote, do we think that would be enough to get Edith over the hurdle, or do we think Koga is going to be able to slice some of that away?
Can I go first?
No. Let me the judge finish up.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, in Liberia, you can't even, the way elections are done with the kind of money. I mean, the guys staying in the street, they're giving money. So it's very hard to predict how things going to turn out, because a lot of people vote not with their heads, but with their bellies. So, and now there's a movement that people, this tribe thing, when you talk so much, and then there are some Liberians that don't like for a woman to be very, outstanding, and they have problem with that. And so some of that will be against Ediths. There are some women, even in most areas, in some areas, women don't like the other women because you feel you're too, or that kind of way. So yes, Koga is going to slice away some of those female votes.
Thank you very much, Dr. Booty.
Yeah, and I'm glad that Dennis touched on a couple of things I was going to say. Look, there is this thing that goes around, and I speak to a lot of women that talk about it, that women don't normally, like the way that men are easy to congregate, which is why we are able to put these kind of structures in place to prevent women from coming in. Men can easily support each other. Women, from my friends I talk to who are women, for some reason there's always competition. I think because everybody's trying to break the glass ceiling, they don't want the other person to claim that, this crab mentality, right? A lot of women have this kind of crab mentality. One person won't go up, they try to pull them down. But I think one thing that will be very determining in this election is not the gender aspect of things. It's the education that I keep talking about. The people who are voting do not understand the power of their votes. Because if they did, they're not voting for Koga. Because this man that Mr. Tao has pointed out many times, 12 years, and you don't have anything to show for it. What can you not do as a representative that you can't do as senator? The people don't understand that, and it will not. The women themselves will be voting for him because simply they don't understand the power of their votes. They just see Koga, they hear Prince Johnson, they're looking for another strong man, and unfortunately, that's what's going to happen if we're not careful.
Mr. Tao.
Yeah.
Do you think that the women vote can take it over the top, or do you think that
I doubt it.
Okay.
I doubt it.
Why?
Because you see, we have to pay attention to electoral politics. Me and you will live here in the US. There were 2 female candidates put forth here. Because here is where they give the numbers, right? When Hillary Clinton ran against Barack Obama, what happened when they took the poll? Women don't even want to see other women in power. In those offices like that. They voted against her. This lady right here, what is her name? Kamala Harris. You saw it. The polls, more women voted against her, voted for Trump than. So it's like that. Okay. So what happened here is that this is what it is. We have to understand something. We keep saying, because Dr. Booty said that, what he did is studies in gender inequality and land and all of this stuff. And my question is, in whose culture and tradition were you doing these studies in? These are the problem that we have.
In Senja district,
listen, please. What these things, did you go into the African culture for you to see?
I just told you, I was in Senja district for 2 months. I lived among the people for 2 months. It's ethnographic research.
Let him finish, please, Dr.
No, but let me get him the answer before he starts lying on my knees.
No, let him finish where he mistake.
Look, there was no mistake there.
Go ahead.
I went to school here. There was a bias. I did research. So when you are doing research, they already point you in a direction. So when you get there, for you to get, look, Mr. Ja, you grew up for a good while in the village. Why would any woman deny land? Land is not an issue. Land is not an issue in the African culture based on any gender. Really?
What do you mean?
All these stuff are European construct.
What do you mean?
In Europe, like in America, listen, people don't own land. People don't own land. The state take all the land, the banks. So everybody here landless in the place where people are landless. You are pretty landless.
Mr. Taro, Mr. Taro, you're confusing me, because when a woman in a village, when she loses her husband, what happens to the woman?
Let me
just ask something on it quickly. There is still a law. There's still a law in Liberia, Mr. Tao. There's still a law in Liberia that if a Liberian woman is married to a foreign man who owns land and property in Liberia, and that foreign man dies, she can't take the property. Till this day, there's a law.
Listen now, you are all this stuff is European construct. These things are
based on our law.
Let me wrap up. These things are
let him go, please.
Yeah, let me speak. All these things that he's pointing out is the same thing that I've been pointing out since I came on the show. That what we have, the governing system we have, is wrong. You are trying to quote things based on a governing system and laws put in place around a Eurocentric governing system that you have. That is what you are struggling with. The law that you are talking about doesn't exist within the African context.
Therefore,
it doesn't exist.
Therefore,
so you are talking about like voting right, and the women could not vote till 1955. These are European construct where you are talking about the feminist movement. I've studied it. It, the genesis of it. These conditions that led to the so-called feminist movement, when the women were property of the men. In feudal Europe, doesn't exist. In Africa, it didn't exist. So these things were brought in, and these things are not problem. But they're beefing it up because you have a governing system at them.
So we shouldn't give women rights in Liberia. That's the place I want you to learn.
No, that is not what I'm saying. I'm saying the problem that we are having here is that because there is a two-tier system, you have a governing system and a whole political system that does not recognize the indigenous setup. Man, look, Dennis, let me tell you something. No nation of people can rise and lead themselves, leaving out their culture and their tradition. No, you draw your leadership from that. There should be something that we should do. There should be a national consensus. We need to go back to this. The Americans, the British, the Chinese, the Japanese, they draw all of the foundational stuff in the governing system.
All right, we're moving to the last topic.
Let me wrap this up. One thing, let's look at the justice system. There is no justice. How do you say you have a justice system that the only way that you get justice is by how much money you have?
Well, that's not
the moment they say somebody accuse you, they take you to court, they say, man, hire a good lawyer. You hire.
If
So
you
if
are
you
going to
have
village,
money,
it'll be the
get
same way.
justice.
Me,
So
the
if
Congo
you don't
minute.
have money,
If
you
I
don't
go in
have
the
justice.
village, it will be the same way. I will win all
No,
the kids.
in the village,
I will
in
win
the
all the
village,
kids. Just trust
listen
me.
now, listen, in the village, you don't have to have money in order for your kids to be hurt and for you to sit down to go to trial.
Okay.
So we have to look at
All right.
these things.
Okay. All right. Let's go
So
to the
everything that
final.
we're pointing at that is problem for women is not from the African context, though. It's the
Okay.
That is
Eurocentric
true.
setup.
All right. Okay.
That
Okay.
is
That is
true.
what women are
So,
now.
so basically, you said the problem doesn't exist.
No, I didn't say it don't exist.
He said
I'm
it's
trying to
current.
follow the logic, but
No,
I'm not getting it.
no, I didn't say it don't exist. I say because I'm advocating for that the rules that are put in place that are stopping women from getting these opportunities is not an African making.
That's not
Because
true,
in
Mr. Tao.
the
That's
African
not
making,
true.
Yeah, no, please let Dr. Bodi, please let
so
Mr.
so
Tao.
let us since
Go
this
Mr.
is a
Tao,
problem.
then too long.
Could
Go
you
ahead.
please
See,
wait?
you chasing
Could you
me. 10
please
seconds,
wait?
Mr. Tao.
You
10
talk, I
seconds.
never interrupt you.
Sorry. Go ahead. 10
That is
seconds.
the Eurocentric stuff right there.
Oh,
You
you
respect
see.
that elders?
Mr. Tao,
All right,
because
thank you
you're
so much, Mr. Tao.
spreading falsehoods,
Thank you so much.
right? You're
We have
spreading
more to go.
falsehoods.
So, Mr. Dennis,
Gentlemen,
look at what happened here. So since these things are there, based on the European constructed system, right? And here, Dr. Buddhist will say, oh, I don't think there is anything we can do. It can just be like that. Then I say, let's go back and look into our culture because we did not have this stuff entrenched like this.
Okay.
How did they deal with it?
All right. Okay.
What were the measures that they used?
Okay.
Then
All
let's
right.
study those and elevate it to the national level. That is
Okay.
what everybody else did. And then you
Thank you.
change these things.
Thank you, Mr. Tao. Thank you, Mr. Tao. We still
That is all I'm
have
saying.
one more topic to go. And we're gonna see if we can bring some callers on. We'll give it a shot. So please let's get it. Let's move it on. You know, what I have learned is that when a woman loses her husband in a village, right, she does not remain single. They'll either find a new husband, or she will marry her husband's brother.
Into the family.
Yes, you know. And I mean, she
And
doesn't.
the
It's not
Europeans
like
did
she
not
has to
bring
stay.
that.
Huh?
The Europeans did not bring that, and
No,
that's a property mentality.
The Europeans did not bring that. You know, even
Yeah, that's treating a woman like a property.
Yeah. So anyway, let's move on to the final
It's
topic.
not property.
We've put up the numbers to call. So our audience, if you want to contribute, we encourage you. The number to call is 605-313-6004, and then enter the code 791-403#. And we will do our best to bring you on. So if we quickly move into our last topic, I want us to be able to talk about this, have our callers, and then give our closing, and be able to wrap it up. So Nimba County has been seen as a kingmaker last 3 elections. Excuse me there. With what you see going on right now in Nimba County, excuse me, and all of the different tugging and pulling, what can we say come 2029 when it comes to Nimba County? What can we predict? Will Nimba remain the kingmaker? Will Nimba remain the single vote? Will Nimba come in with a divided vote like every other county if they don't have a Nimba candidate? Let me include that. Because other counties, when they have that county, whether it's Lofa, Joseph Boyka will carry majority of Lofa because he's from Lofa County. So if Nimba does not have a candidate in the race, will Nimba remain that strong vote for a single candidate? Or are we about to see everybody kind of pull, how they pull on Monserrato? Dr. Booty, can you go first?
Oh, yeah, I will. And first of all, let me just apologize to our listeners because Mr. Tao provided a lot of misinformation about gender politics in rural spaces in Liberia, right? And unfortunately said things about me that are not true because I was there for 2 months and I interviewed people. I didn't carry women with me to go interview them. I interviewed them directly, and their message is what I spread. In terms of Nimba County, Ms. Padmo, look, this is what the situation is. The reason that we had a Prince Johnson was because of the episodes that we saw in the 1980s, where the people of Nimba County were prosecuted by a president, and they needed a savior. And that savior came in the form of Prince Yelu Johnson. That is not going to happen in Nimba County again, but we hope it doesn't happen in Nimba County again, where the people are going to be prosecuted to a point where they need a savior. Hence, people will not fall in line because they feel that, oh, he saved also when he still let go, so we'll go so. So my simple answer is no. Going forward, and I've said this a couple of times on this show, there will not be another Prince Johnson figure in Nimba County. And this election, I believe, will show that. I think the divide or the distribution of the votes will show that no one person has that kind of stronghold. Even if Koga wins, it's going to be, the margin is not going to be as wide as Prince Johnson used to win by, right? It's going to be very, very close. And that will tell you that, look, going forward, Nimba County will never, until we have, unfortunately, another 1980s kind of period where Nimba County is, the people in Nimba have been prosecuted and they need a savior and the savior come up, that is not going to happen. So the simple answer is no. Nimba will not be that Kingmaker, but like you said, and I like the way you put the question, if a Nimbayan was in the race, then they will want to coalesce around that person. But if they weren't a Nimbayan, trust me, we'll always get the counter splitting up.
Okay. Mr. Ja, I'm gonna save the title for last.
There have been instances where Nimbayans are in the race and they still don't go there, right? I'm one person.
What are the examples?
Gonglo.
Right.
No, but Prince Johnson was alive. And you see, again, you got to be, Prince was alive and Prince told them. Once Prince is alive, he's carrying on. No, but Prince Johnson told them where to go.
Okay,
right?
I'll come to that.
Okay,
so
we're talking about Kingmaker, right? We're talking about Kingmaker, and Prince Johnson was that.
I'm one of those who do not believe that even Prince Johnson has been a Kingmaker, right? I just believe that Prince Johnson is very street smart. He's been able to read the tea leaves and move where the people are. But I do not believe that Prince Johnson has really been taking people this way or that way. Second thing, I do not also believe that Prince Johnson is the savior because Prince of Nimba. What Prince Johnson did for which he's being rewarded was he was able to revenge because the person who was at their throat, he finally grabbed him and killed him. And that's why but the way they are presented that he defended Nimba, he protected Nimba, that did not happen. Prince Johnson ran through Nimba and was in Kawa. And Nimba people, Taylor took all that area, right?
Yes.
So the narrative.
Not yes. That's debatable as well.
No, that's true. That's accurate.
That's not true. That's not true.
Tell me what's not true.
Look, listen. If Prince Johnson was not a part, right, of the Civil War, the people who brought the people in Nimba County view Prince Johnson as one of the architects of the war, right? It's not just he was. Prince Johnson was an architect, right? He was an architect. They were all part of the special forces, right? Prince Johnson was a special forces officer.
Putumayo was part of the special forces.
Well, yeah, like Target 1T and Dogolier and Isaac Musa and all those guys. Yeah, they were all part of it. But Prince Johnson was the one amongst them that the people of Nimba County saw as their savior. Whether you want to accept it or not, that
was trying to say.
That's all I'm saying.
He was seen as their savior. But my brother, when they say you can't save me, you saved me from a thing, right? So once you kill the thing, then I mean you said that you're the savior.
Mr. Budi, Dr. Budi, that's what I'm saying. I said the way they are presented.
The thing you say, Mr. Chatham was in Bukong County. That's where he was stationed. If we want to talk about where their location was, Chatham was not in Nimba, in Bukong.
No. But Nimba was controlled by Charles Taylor forces. That's what I'm saying. I was there.
How was it not because of Prince Johnson initial? Because the Prince then started the war. They were the one that caused it to my brother.
But let's not really get the war. Let him let it get the war.
Can we let Mr. John speak?
Hold on, Mr. John, please.
No, but Mr. John is stating points that are not true.
No, but that's. I mean, I don't know what is not true.
How old are you in the war?
Age is not the issue here, right?
No, because some people's knowledge is based on what they saw, what they experienced. Others are based on what they read. That's what I
saw and I experienced. I was in Bongman when Prince Johnson came there. Prince Johnson took one of my uncles with him.
Okay. All right.
What I'm saying,
we were in the house for days. When they were shooting and killing all around, we were stuck in the house for days.
Okay.
What I'm saying, Dr. Budi, the way Prince Johnson is being presented that he defended Nimba people, I say all he did was he killed the person who was killing Nimba people.
That is an opinion that is not accepted by the people of Nimba County.
And because of that, they are rewarding him. That's all. Okay. Prince Johnson got to Carl Webb, very early, and he's been there until. The time he even fought was very short compared. The war lasted like 13 years. Prince Johnson fought for about 2 years. So the
mission was accomplished. His mission was accomplished.
What was the mission?
His mission was accomplished to come and kill the man that he felt were killing his prosecuting people.
Nimba was even attacked after that. I don't know if you know that. But Nimba
No,
was attacked.
that's not the point. That's not the point. The point
All
here
right,
is
so
the person who was going after the people of Nimba County was Samuel Doe.
Get the war.
Right. And Prince Johnson killed that person, and so
exactly.
they are
So his
him.
mission was complete. In his mind, he did what he had to do, and he left.
Mr. Paco.
Okay, Mr. Tao, please.
So let's stop being conducted in a way where the interruption is really not good.
It's okay.
Yeah, Dr. Booty is getting fun of this stuff. If somebody's talking, we disagree with him. Just wait. When they're done, they come to you.
There's a platform that many times interrupted me before.
Look, when
so
you're
don't
speaking,
start.
nobody interrupt you. Like you interrupt me over and over when you're speaking, no matter how long you talk. I'm quiet because we have people listening. They need to understand.
We're running out of time. We are running out of time.
So to conclude on that, I do not believe, and even I do not believe, just to agree on that, the second part of Dr. Booty, that we're not going to see that. Nimba has always, the Prince Johnson was just smart to read the tea leaves and move there, but he really did not direct people there, right? And so that's it. And we're not going to see that repeat anytime soon.
Okay. All right. Mr. Tao, so when it comes to you, what do you think moving to 2029? What do you think we're going to see from Nimba? Let's make this.
There are 2 points that Dennis made that I agree with. And the point here is that you never saw Prince Johnson pledge allegiance to a party that was not already in the lead, right? So yes, you can say that he helped the governor's vote from Nimba, but he already saw that a party was already moving. So since he always had this warlord thing hanging over his head, he will go in there and he make deal with them, right? Yes, and we can count that as some influence, right? He governs the vote, right? And like that. But if he went to a party that was somewhere in the middle, he wouldn't do that because he didn't say he was smart enough.
Okay.
And Prince Johnson, who was in Liberia, who grew up there, he was not the savior of Nimba. In fact, if you look, Prince Johnson killed a whole bunch of permanent people from Nimba.
That's true. That's true.
Okay.
That's true.
The killing of Doe. Yes, if you want to call it as Dr. Booty is saying, that then it is seen as the thing that was behind them. And then yes, and then Dennis is right on that, right? He killed Doe. And then so he's seen as the savior. If from that point, yes, then I agree with Dr. Booty, but like in the point, But look, let me just conclude on this, right? The Nimba, I want to agree with Dr. Booty that I think it will be very difficult for one single person to have that much influence, at least not now. Mm-hmm. And I don't even think it's going to happen in 2029, even though there is still a lot of time, because you're going to see people going to pull in different directions. Yeah. And I agree with him strongly on that one.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. So to our viewers, you are watching On Point, focus on Liberia. Once again, the number to call is 605-313-6004. 791-403 # is the code. We have with 10 minutes to go. Mr. Jar, do we have any callers?
Not yet.
Okay, all right. Our Sunday viewers are very shy. I don't know why, because we always try to be very nice to them, but they are indeed very shy.
I think they're missing Mr. Gaiman, who is in Manchester.
All right, so since we don't have that, you know what, and we only have 10 minutes, and that's 4 of us, why don't we go into our closing? And if we have a caller before then, we will interrupt. But for now, why don't we go into our closing? And so to get the time right, let's try and limit the interruptions. And if you disagree on something, please note it. And then when it's your turn, you can speak on it. All right. So that being said, Mr. Tao, you have the floor, sir. Why don't you go ahead and give your closing?
Okay, Mr. Padmo, thanks for having me here today, and thanks to my fellow panelists. It was a good discussion, and to our viewers. In closing, this is what I will say. We are always going to have this division. It don't mean that they don't exist. But electoral politics magnify these things because it's about getting vote. And like Dr. Booty pointed out, the guild and the minor, or I don't know down how you call them. I don't want to mispronounce something.
Down and man.
They're the majority in Nimba. So winning any kind of elected area on a national level or even a county level, they're always going to be ahead. They're going to be at an advantage. It's the same thing that I hear people say here on the platform that Mandingos are marginalized. It's the same way. So no, if you are marginalized, how are you appointed in all these positions in government? If you look, Mandingos have a big, compared to their population, they're appointed more in this government in many other governments. If you look, they're one of the leading people in trade and everywhere else. Nobody stopped them. But the reason they keep pointing out political is because they are not concentrated in any one number somewhere. They're scattered. So you're not going to tell the people in Nimba to just vote you Musa Ability or vote this person because you think that you should win all the people in San or the people in Grand Bass or the people in Lofa. So that's the same thing. So that's what electoral politics does. It's about majority rule, right? So the people in Nimba are not going to disenfranchise themselves and allow some guy, Mandingo person, just because they want to be equal. It don't work that way. Okay. So that's the issue. And to conclude here, look, we most of the stuff that we go over here, we're going to struggle with it. We are struggling with it continuously. We have to look within our own culture. We are the only people in the world that they told us that everything about us, we should forget about it, that it's not good enough, that it can't guide us. Yet, if you look at your own history, you ruled the world for over 10,000 years. Almost the foundation of civilization, you set it. Everything is still there.
Okay, Mr. Tao.
We are told that we should give it all up. You can never rise. No people are able to rise to compete in this world trying to use somebody else's manuscript. It doesn't work.
Thank you, Mr. Tao. Thank you, Mr. Tao. Thank you very much. Dr. Booty, why don't you go ahead?
Yeah, I muted myself so I didn't interrupt anyone.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
I'm behaving myself. No, look, listen, it's been a great show. I'm eager to, I'm hoping that Mr. Jai will invite me on the shows this week so that we can monitor what happens in Nimba County, because I think it will be a good indication of whether my assessment of the matter, that the county will never be coalesced around one person, if that is true or not, based on the way the votes come in. I think the tribal politics is wrong in Nimba County. I think the gender politics, the way it's going in terms of trying to put women down is wrong. I think the people in Nimba County should reject Koga. And I take Mr. Tao's point that he made, and I will add on that to say, look, I believe that going forward, we need to start electing our superintendents, right? So that when a senator dies, for example, they appoint the next senator until that term ends. And then we don't have to go through all this mess of an election, right? It saves the Liberian people a lot of money, save us time and wasting, causing people and saying all this kind of stuff on like that. So I would just make it easy, right? And just until the next election, like they do in other places, the superintendent who is elected appoints someone to complete the term. And that saves us a lot of time. But look, finally, Mr. Tao made a point that I want to push back on. He said that Prince Johnson always went to the party that was leading. Well, that's not true, right? Because in 2023, President Boakai was trailing George Weah, and Prince Johnson endorsed Boakai over Weah. So obviously that fact is wrong. And I always say to Mr. Tao, you need to try and get your facts right, because the people who are watching depend on us to do research and provide the information that is accurate, at least to the best of our knowledge. But thank you so much. I'm sure we'll be back here again next Sunday. Yeah, Mr. Gamer was here in Manchester. Well, in the UK, I live close to Manchester. We're together. We had fun. He's in the air right now. He told me, "No man, will get hot on Sunday because you are a CMC meeting." So, but thankfully, you guys didn't. So at least I go back unscathed.
We try to respect your choices, Chief. That's what we'll do here. Mr. John. How about you?
Yeah, Mr. Gilbert, tough, right? So you guys decide everything. So you can't talk about Mr. Given and CMC. I see what's going on. but I want to say thank you guys for allowing me to be here. You know, I'm used to asking questions, so you know that's why I struggle, because I can't answer a question correctly. but thank you. You know, thank you. I really enjoyed. To close, Nimba County, what we see in Nimba is not unique to Nimba. The tribal politics, the division, people are thriving on all these things happen everywhere, even in my own sign-up, right? Where you have the Sapo, the crew, and the crew are different groups. You have the Grebo, you have Congo, and all, you know. So all these things exist that are happening in Nimba. We also see around the country where people follow, you know, some noisy person. Sometimes it's not about what you can do. It's just, you know, in Riverside, it happened at the last election. One guy was running the election from the beginning. The other guy waited because he had money. At the end, he just gave them money. And before I close, it happened in Cape Mount, where Sando Wing was running. I mean, very progressive guy was running. And so he had his town hall, and he was there speaking. I mean, everybody was quiet. People were speaking and everything. So another guy was passing with a bag of rice and oil. So he said, "Where are you coming from?" He said, "Oh, the other guy." By the time he finished talking, Unde Sando Wing and his campaign manager was standing. They have all gone to where they were dividing the rice. So this is how it is. And so we're going to be monitoring this on Monday, Tuesday. We're going to be here to talk more about the election. Again, thank you for allowing me. I wanted for us to discuss CMC, but you guys through game and manipulator to not put it on the menu. But
no, Mr. Game is not here.
Okay, thank you guys.
I'm shocked how it was not part of this discussion, because I really was looking forward to it.
I think
part of the discussion.
Because we talked about this, we talked about the Nimba election, and CNC was left out. How?
I was hoping that you guys brought it up.
We did. I believe what's his name spoke about my was the CMC candidate. Okay, thank you so much, guys. I want to thank our audience for hanging out with us this Sunday. And we had some really spirited debates, and that's what we do here. We talk about the things we believe in, and we try to give out what we passionately believe are, what our passionate beliefs are. Mr. Judge, just to confirm, Tuesday Focus is going to have a show, right?
Yeah, that's election day in Nimba.
Awesome. So please, so stay tuned. The flyer will be coming out, but we will be having a post-election show on Tuesday evening, and we will be speaking on the election results, the election day turnout, and all the things that surround those things. So, but thank you all for joining us this Sunday. We appreciate it. Until next Sunday, we'll end with our. Are you gonna do it?
Yeah.
We are Labira. Labira is our home. Labira people. Labira oh. Labira.